What's going on YouTube? This lighthearted clip to begin the video was one of my finer moments in Planetside 2 so far. If you're here for gameplay tips or tactics, I can't help you too much because I'm new to the game as well. I can, however, help you get the game running as smoothly as possible. In this video, I will be reviewing the graphics and hardware optimization as well as talking about the gameplay experience. If you look in the bottom left hand corner, you will see how many frames per second I am getting. I am attacking the Econom Biolab on Amerish with 100 other teammates, so this is about as intense as the game gets. A solution to better frames per second isn't necessarily better hardware. Planetside 2 is a headache for even high-end gaming rigs to run. There's guys with Haswell i7s and GTX 770 SLI, 780 SLI, and even Titan SLI who struggle to get 60 frames per second in intense fights. Even some Sandy Bridge E i7 3930K users are struggling. There's a point in hardware levels where scaling absolutely tanks, and you only see minimal gains. I think that point is around an i7 with GTX 760 or 670. Anything after that only sees minimal gains. Planetside 2 is more CPU intensive than GPU intensive, but it's not the CPU that's bottlenecking anything. It's the game itself, or rather the engine, bottlenecking your hardware. The engine coding is bad. Not as bad as do I dare mention GTA 4 for PC, but it's pretty atrocious. My suggestion is to make your graphical adjustments using your game's .ini configuration, which is located in your game files in Steam. I will leave detailed instructions in the description on how to get to the .ini. We are making adjustments in the .ini because I find it's a lot more reliable than the in-game options and it gives you more control. I am playing this on an i7 3770K at 4.5 GHz and GTX 780 in SLI. I get 55% GPU usage on both GPUs. In this video, I had my graphics set at rape mode, aka 140% quality, which is basically super sampling. That's why you see FPS in the 30s. Now when I play, I average in the high 40s to low 50s for intense battles, which is tolerable but not optimal. Here are the settings I've been using. I recommend everyone with at least a mid-range system use the 1.0 value for render qualities because this is the ultimate determinant of visual quality. Render distance is something you should consider lowering because anything involving distance in this game requires CPU power and you want to reduce the load on your CPU as much as possible. Any value above the default 4000 causes negligible hits to performance, but each tier down nets you about 5% better FPS. Distance is only quality of objects and terrain. You will see enemies just fine. In textures, 0 means ultra. I think even mid-range rigs will have no problem handling ultra. With lighting, I recommend higher-end rigs leave the value at 5 because it makes the characters and guns look fantastic, and I think it's worth the FPS hit. Shadows is one of the most CPU-intensive graphical effects in the game. If you are gasping for frames even after the tweaks I've suggested, then set shadows to the lowest they go. I use medium because I need some shadow resolution to balance out the settings. I don't want to go heavy on the lighting and light on the shadows, but high is just ridiculous and not worth the frames hit. For effects, you can leave it at the highest. It doesn't really affect much. Flora can cause a performance hit, but I like the way it looks, so I leave it at max. For field of view, you can max it out if you want. It causes negligible performance hits. If you sit far from your screen, use a narrow field of view. If you sit close, use a wide field of view. For PhysX, I max it out because it's NVIDIA optimized and I have more than enough GPU power for it. For particle effects, I turn it down to the lowest setting because, again, it's determining whether GPU physics kicks in to show the dirt, destruction, or spark effects at a longer range, and distance is CPU intensive, so I use low to reduce the load on my CPU. Try out any of the above adjustments relative to your system power, and hopefully everyone who plays, regardless of what computer you have, will have better system performance. Now let's talk about the actual gameplay of Planetside 2. The game follows a free-to-play model, but is it pay to win? I can say with deepest confidence that it is not pay to win. You are not getting a demo or a trial experience if you don't spend any money on the game. You can spend $100 on your first day and still get outgunned by people who haven't spent $1. There is no paywall to high-level features. Real money buys station cash, which you can use to buy guns. All guns are relatively balanced, and you can hold your own with the default guns, except maybe the Terran and Vanu sniper rifles. You can unlock guns with certification points, which you get for doing things in-game. Every gun is available to you. It just takes a ridiculously long time if you expect to get guns with cert points. In Call of Duty, you can unlock everything in a weekend. I consider it pretty impressive for a new player to unlock more than one gun in a weekend of heavy grinding in Planetside 2. The things that make the most difference are attachments and perks, which you have to buy with cert points and can't use real money on. You can rank up and earn cert points faster by paying for the Planetside 2 membership. Regular players after 10 hours will have enough attachments and perks in a class to play that class pretty effectively. Assuming both players have the same natural skill, if they both have 50 hours played, but one has put money into the game and the other hasn't, the physical difference between the two is maybe only 5 to 10%. The game does not have a big player base, even though it is free to play. Even Call of Duty has more players on PC. One of the hurdles is definitely the hardware problems. I think it's unacceptable that people who are on gaming budgets have inherent disadvantages even getting the game running. Around the time the PlayStation 4 of Planetside 2 version launches, the developers will have updated the game to use multi-core CPUs better, so hopefully that will help more people physically run the game. Another reason for the low player count is that this game has a steep learning curve. Even with the new tutorial, it's intimidating for new players as they drop into a battle with 100 players on both sides and the world is exploding around them. The guns take a long time to kill. The average engagement distance is longer than most games, so expect to need 7 or more hits with assault rifles or carbines to down someone. The guns have considerable recoil and there's bullet drop and projectile speed to take into account. You cannot play this game as a lone wolf. In Call of Duty or Counter-Strike, one player can clutch out a game. In Planetside, you are a cog in the machine. Team coordination and tactics are more important than Twitch reactions. Even pro Counter-Strike or Call of Duty players won't immediately be successful without learning game fundamentals. Good reaction time and good aim definitely help, but they're far from the most important skills. You need to learn weapon handling, assault tactics, how to play your class, and how to be a good teammate. The battles are large scale, like previously mentioned in the video. Hundreds of players participate in each battle. The depth and scale of the game are definitely part of the appeal. Planetside 2 is as much RPG as it is FPS, and you are really supposed to absorb yourself in the game to get the best experience. The feel of the game is unlike that of any other shooter I've ever played. Being a part of a large convoy about to assault a biolab has no equivalent experience. The game is good at making you feel involved in a large-scale global conflict, but at the same time you realize just how small you are in comparison to your entire attacking force. This is the type of game where you can't really get a whole lot done in a quick play session. In Call of Duty, and I know I'm talking about Call of Duty a lot, I'm not knocking on Call of Duty, I personally enjoy Call of Duty a lot, it's just that it's a game that a lot of people know about, so you know when I'm making a comparison, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You can measure out the time you need to play a few rounds before class and work in Call of Duty. In Planetside, capturing some bases can take from dusk to dawn in the game, and even in real life sometimes. There are a lot of World War I type stalemates, but that is also part of the immersion of the game. The experience is different every time you log in. The game's not for everyone. No game has universal appeal. You can definitely play other games even if you are deep into Planetside. You don't have to devote your entire gaming time to this game. However, you need more time than most other games to make progress in Planetside. Weapons and attachments take a long time to earn. The level of depth of gameplay and character progression is part of the RPG aspect of the game. A lot of games like Call of Duty and Battlefield 3 are designed for a yearly or bi-yearly release cycle respectively, where the game won't be supported much after the first year or second year respectively. Planetside 2 is going to be continually expanded and supported for the better half of a decade. In summary, I do ultimately think Planetside 2 is a worthwhile gaming experience, and I expect to play a lot more of it before some of the larger titles of late 2013 launch. You should definitely try the game to see whether it's worth it to you to invest in the game long term. If you find that it's not your type of game, you can leave with the satisfaction that you didn't spend any money to play. Planetside 2 will not reward you like Call of Duty, where you get extra points if you happen to die a lot and you can call in an AI-controlled kill streak to kill enemies for you. The Planetside 2 experience is more rewarding with the more effort you put into it, just like with all aspects in life. If you do a 6-pack abs and 6 minutes a day workout, you will only see 6 minutes worth of results. If you take time to learn a well-balanced conditioning and weightlifting regimen and eat enough protein relative to your body weight, you will see much better results. With Planetside, if you are just venturing out on your own, not really focusing on team tactics, getting frustrated when you lose gunfights, and having to wait a long time before respawning, then the game won't be that fun. If you join a squad, talk into your headset, really learn all the ins and outs of your class, proper assault and defense tactics, and learn your best role on the team, then you will enjoy Planetside 2 a whole lot more. Thank you very much for watching this video all the way through. I really appreciate your time here. Be sure to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. My name's David, and I'll see you next video.